And now moving on to our next story, Tigran Gambaryan, the Binance's head of financial crime compliance, claims that 3 Nigerian lawmakers demanded $150 million bribe during his detention last year. In a post on X, he named Peter Akpanke and Philip Agbese as part of a January 5, 2024 meeting at the National Assembly, but could not recall the third lawmaker. He also alleged the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu sought billions for political ambitions. Now, here's what you should know.
The NSA's office and the lawmakers have all denied the allegations. Additionally, the federal government, through the Ministry of Information, has called on Nigerians to disregard the accusations, saying they are false and outrageous. In February 2024, the Nigerian government banned cryptocurrency transactions involving the Naira on Binance, accusing the platform of terrorism financing and exchange rate manipulation. 2 Binance executives, Tigran Gambaryan, a U.S. citizen, and Nadim Ajwala, a British Kenyan, were detained after allegedly meeting with Nigeria's National Security Advisor. Ajwala later escaped from custody. This morning, we're joined by Public Affairs Analyst Duke Oputa, who joins us from London in the United Kingdom to make sense of all of this. A warm welcome to you, Mr. Oputa, and thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central.
Thank you, Benga. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Now, these are very weighty allegations. We just concluded a conversation on USAID's alleged financing of Boko Haram terrorism in Nigeria. To this one, some have termed it a distraction. The Ministry of Information came out, the lawmakers have emphatically denied any wrongdoing in this, and they said Mr. Gambaryan is lying. What do you make of all of these allegations? What's your thought? What are your thoughts?
Thank you, Benga. I think the first thing that comes to my mind is the speed with which the Minister for Information, Mohammed Idris, dismissed the allegations. One wonders whether that is the process through which we investigate crimes, i.e., the government wading in before any investigation or indeed, any inquiries are made regarding the allegation. Now, wanted to notice this. There are 2 different narratives coming out of this situation. So we've got the narratives from the Nigerian government and, of course, from the individuals accused by Gambaryan. And then we've got the narrative from Gambaryan, which is a direct contrast to what we're hearing from our government. I mean, for instance, the minister insisted that during the first visit that Gambaryan came to Nigeria in January 2024, that they were called in to investigate some bribery allegation. That's during the very first visit in January 24. But Gambaryan, on the other hand, says that there couldn't have been an investigation because he was not, required to provide a statement. So again, the issue is we are now in a position where we have to choose between Gambaryan and the minister who is telling the truth. But the reality of the matter is that it doesn't matter who is telling the truth. The accusations are very serious and need to be investigated one way or the other in a transparent manner. And from our own relationship with our governments, we've come to basically distrust our government. The trust deficit is completely zero. We don't have any reason to believe anything our government tells us because we know that corruption is endemic. And yet, our government has never really ever come out and accepted this corruption. So at the end of the day, we are saying, or I am saying, let us investigate. Let us find out what is happening. And the government should not be wading into this matter. They should have left it to the police. They should have left it to the EFCC. They should have left it to anybody else who has a task of ensuring that law and order and corruption and everything that destroys Nigeria's economy is looked into. But they're doing that, without even bothering to ask the political parties who are involved, the political parties of these 3 people that have been named, Akpanke, PDP, Agbese, APC, and Omusibe, it's Labour Party. So why are those political parties not investigating their members, because that is the way this thing should happen. The first thing that should have happened was the parties calling their members and say, is this true? Give us your version of the story. And then this version of the story can be put out to the press. I mean, there should be a press conference with these people in attendance telling us exactly what has happened. My position is very simple, Benga. If Mr. Tigris says that he was asked for a bribe, yes, I agree. He needs to provide evidence to support that claim. But it is wrong to dismiss that claim out of hand and tell Nigerians that it's one big ploy, by the American government or by Binance or anybody else to destroy the Nigerian economy. The Nigerian economy started being destroyed when this present government decided to remove subsidies for oil. Right. If you remember, Tinubu came into power in May 2023. Now, before May 2023, Binance was already trading in Nigeria. So Binance trading did not start in May 2023. If Binance trading was so disastrous to our economy, then whatever we've seen between Tinubu's term and this point in time should have also been present before that, because the trading has always been there. In fact, Binance's trading has not actually increased beyond 10% year on year since 1920. So ultimately, what we saw between July 23 and June 21, when the big issue is being looked at, i.e. when apparently Binance traded $59 billion in Nigeria, which is almost half or even possibly more than half the entire traded value in in sub-Saharan Africa. During that period when they did this, there was no dramatic increase. There was no dramatic increase because it's a 10% increase, no more than that. So whatever was happening with Binance's trading in the economy was already happening before Tinubu. So the decline in the Naira is not a direct result of that. It is partly, obviously caused by that, but it's not a direct result because we've had that specific issue through the last 10 years with Binance. They've been trading and the Naira has been relatively stable. Right. So it's a distraction.
I mean, one would have expected, ever since the Binance issue happened, part of the expectation was that after Binance, was stopped, in a sense, that the economy will return to what it was, in terms of inflation rates. But we didn't see a lot of that happen. But I want us to go back to a number of the accusations that have been made. One of the persons who has fingers pointed at him is Nuhu Ribadu. But we've seen a number of people jump to his defense. For example, we've seen Ben Bruce jump to his defense. And we've seen a lawyer, Deji Adeyanju, jump to his defense as well. In fact, they've alleged that all of this is just to smear Nuhu Ribadu's reputation, because there's a likelihood of him running for presidency. They say that he has presidential ambitions, and because the politicians are threatened by his proposed presidential ambitions, they're trying to conduct a smear campaign on his reputation. I'd like you to respond to the political angle that has reached to this controversy.
And also Senator Ben Bruce's suggestion that he should undergo a lie detector test, a polygraph test in a neutral country.
Well, again, we're back to the same position. There's this knee-jerk reaction that our politicians have whenever Nigeria is called out for anything that is inappropriate. But the reality of the matter is countries should self-correct. There's no two ways about it. It's down to us to ensure that we run our affairs in accordance with our laws, and it's also in accordance with with moral standards that we all in Nigeria accept. Nuhu Ribadu, yes, Gambaryan. Well, actually, let's be very clear. Gambaryan said Ribadu wanted. He didn't say demanded. He said he wanted billions for his political ambition. So that, in a way, is not really not all that relevant. What does wanted mean? If he had said that Ribadu demanded billions, then that would have been a different matter altogether. But more importantly, if he did demand billions, billions from who? Billions from where? And where do you get billions to give anybody? Even Binance, with all their financial muscle across the world, will not be able to pick out billions to give to anybody just like that. So that is not really that relevant. But what is relevant is that the fact that, again, Ben Bruce came out and, in defense of Ribadu because of his personal knowledge of Ribadu. But let me ask you this. Is there anybody in Nigeria, any politician in Nigeria who has been convicted in the past of fraud, of corruption, of stealing government money? Is there any one of them who does not have good friends who think well of them? So any one of them could have come, oh, it's my good friend, I know him very well, he couldn't have done that. We have a saying, in Igbo, which says that the monkey mother said he could not vouch for his or her little boy on her back, picking up a mango, because I couldn't, I wasn't there with her, or him on my back. So when, Bruce is coming out and, defending Nuhu, I mean, it's neither here nor there. What is important is that there is no evidence to suggest that Ribadu demanded a bribe. Yeah, if he wanted money, anybody can want money. But, my take anyway is, I actually tweeted to Bruce, look, Gambaryan is no longer in Nigeria. He's now snug away somewhere in the United States of America. So if you're looking for someone to take a lie detector test, it should be Ribadu. Ribadu can take a lie detector test and say, I had no conversation with this guy about this thing. If he does that and he comes out clean, then we can say at least, from a technical point of view, yes, we can say, well, obviously, if the lie detector says he didn't lie, then he didn't lie. So it's all a red herring. The important thing to take away from this for me in Nigeria is that we've got to get to the point where we begin to take our country seriously and begin to take seriously any events or actions that is likely to undermine the integrity of our country and destroy our economy. And jumping on a bandwagon to condemn accusations and allegations of fraud is itself counterproductive. What the government should be doing is investigating these matters and ensuring that they do so in a public manner, in a way that is sufficiently transparent that we can begin to regain confidence in our government.
Now, Mr. Oputa, others who argue, like lawyers say, he who alleges must prove. What evidence supports Mr. Gambaryan's claim that Nigerian lawmakers demanded a $150 million bribe from him, and the allegations he made against Ribadu is hearsay? It's from his perspective. There's no evidence to prove that this happened. So the burden of proof should be on him. Right. Don't you think so?
Well, you see, we're jumping the gun, Wenga. We're jumping the gun. I mean, all that matter that you just raised becomes relevant if you go to court. At this point, we're having a discussion. We're not in court. When we're in court, then obviously the court will demand evidence if you have accusations. But having said that, like I said, Gambaryan has suggested, he's tweeted again in the last couple of days saying, look, I haven't been interviewed regarding this matter. The Nigerian government, through the minister, suggested that myself and my team were uncooperative when they invited us for the second visit to look at a wider range of issues involving currency manipulation. But he said he was kept in a safe house for several months, of 1 month, whatever, and he was never interviewed. So when you say he's uncooperative, but you haven't actually talked to him. Now, wait a minute. Let's be clear. I'm not suggesting that Gambaryan is, telling the truth. But what I'm suggesting, that is his narrative. His narrative is, I was in a safe house. I wasn't interviewed. So how could you be saying that we are uncooperative? You kept me in the safe house while you're building leverage against, my employer. Because the key thing really here is, remember, Binance had no sense. Binance have sort of fallen foul of the foul virtually everywhere they've operated. In 2021, as far back as 2021, the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority in the UK, actually banned Binance from operating in the UK. That was 2021. And at that time, Binance was operating in Nigeria. Did the Nigerian government take a cue and say, hang about, the UK is banning this, cryptocurrency, facilitating company from operating in our country? Should we be looking into what they're doing in our country to see if they're actually operating within the law? They did not do that. It wasn't until June 2023 that this Security and Exchange Commission in Nigeria decided that Binance needs to be to ban in Nigeria. But following that again, just a few months later, a guilty verdict was passed by a U.S. court, didn't they? Actually, Binance agreed, and that's the key thing. They agreed a plea bargain to pay $4.3 billion. That's a lot of money for violations of money laundering laws in the U.S. And again, not long after that, in 2024, they also fell foul of a number of other authorities as well. So ultimately, they are a criminal organization, as far as I'm concerned. But nevertheless, our government allowed them to continue to operate in Nigeria. Now, in the very first months, of 2023, Binance traded $5-6 billion. Why did that not raise an alarm bell among our people? So the point I'm making is that everybody is benefiting from this. And remember, why is crypto causing this havoc in Nigeria? For the simple reason, economic instability, high inflation. So ultimately, people want to protect their wealth. People want to protect their assets. Traditionally, people would do that by buying dollars. But obviously, with the advent of crypto, it's a lot easier and, more importantly, anonymous to be able to move money around. So ultimately, those who have benefited from what has happened with Binance in Nigeria are the ruling elites. The ordinary Nigerian doesn't have enough money to eat, pay for his petrol. Why would he have money to convert to crypto to put away? He doesn't have it. Right. So it is them that are responsible for it, and it is them that are trying to cover it up.
Man, it really feels like an incomplete picture that we don't have. So many allegations and counter-allegations. Gambaryan talks about how his colleague Nadim did not escape from the mosque like we hear that he did, and that he actually even came back before leaving. There's so many incomplete stories that we're seeing here. But we're hoping that we can get a fuller picture and that justice be done. I think in 30 seconds, the question will be, what will justice in this situation look like? And do you maybe think that this might lead to a diplomatic fallout between both countries?
Well, not really. I mean, it's really not that important. This is a financial matter. It's not a matter of geopolitical importance or anything like that. So the only people that are interested are those who are involved in finance, i.e. the businessmen that are involved. The government of America is not really interested in that, as long as it doesn't affect America from a corruption point of view. So my view really is that, like everything else in Nigeria, is going to blow out in a few months. Nobody's going to hear anything about it. And what is more important is Binance is still negotiating with Nigeria through the back doors to continue to operate in Nigeria. Do we want Binance in Nigeria? Do we want cryptocurrencies in Nigeria? Do we want anything that we cannot control in our economy? This is the key thing, and I think that Tinubu's government really needs to get up, step up, and protect Nigerians from this kind of shenanigans. That is my own view. There is nothing that we can do as Nigerians. We have to depend on our government. But believe me, those three legislators that have been named, in fact, one of them insisted that he only came to visit, I think it was Agbese that said he came to visit his friend, Akpanke. We do know Akpanke himself was an ex-EFCC operative, wasn't he? So let me ask this question. Why did only 3 or 2 members of the Financial Crimes Committee of the House have this meeting? Why was the full committee not present at this meeting? That raises questions about the clandestine nature of it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Duke Oputa, for your deep insights on the subject. We do appreciate your contribution. Thank you so much.